So, we will continue our discussion on IC engine. Today we will discuss about engine friction, lubrication which is required to minimize the friction, and finally we will discuss about the forces that is being applied, that is rather acting on the piston. So, to start with, since we will recapitulate what is friction and where it is present while we are talking about internal combustion engine, rather operation of internal combustion engine. More specifically, we will discuss that why from where friction occurs and why it is occurring, and that we need lubrication to minimize. We cannot completely remove the frictional, rather we can do that, we can minimize the frictional effect. So, we will discuss today. That what is friction. So, we know that friction basically it is refers to the forces acting between mechanical components. So, as I discussed many a times that whenever we are having 2-stroke or 4-stroke engine, in fact we have discussed that piston is moving inside the cylinder, and to save the piston life sometimes we use piston ring only to increase the piston life, but even though we cannot reduce we cannot completely eliminate the frictional losses. So, frictional losses are there. So, what we can do, we can minimize, and to minimize, rather to reduce the frictional losses, we need to have lubrication, and we will have a lubrication system in the engine, we will discuss in detail today. So, I write that what is friction, very important. We have studied this in mechanics, but again I am writing that friction which refers to the forces, acting between mechanical components, acting between mechanical components due to their relative motion. Why? It is very important, due to their relative motion. If we do not have relative motion at all, we may have static friction, but whenever we are discussing about, whenever we have relative motion between the mechanical components due to their relative motion, we cannot ignore friction. So, motion and to the forces on and by fluids when they move through the engine, and to the forces. So, it refers to the forces acting between mechanical components due to their relative motion. Not only that, it also refers to the forces on and by fluids, on and by fluids when they move through the engine, when they move through the engine. So, friction is always there. Now, question is, there is a relative motion between the mechanical components in internal combustion engine, because piston is moving where cylinder is stationary. So, relative to the cylinder we have a motion of the piston and we have friction. Not only that, even if we try to reduce friction, not only that, if we try to minimize the friction, we need to supply lubrication, and when we are supplying lubrication, still the shear force is acting in the in the lubricating the layer of the lubricating oil. So, and rather when fluid is moving or the moving part is there, then relative to the fluid moving there when relative to the moving part, so there will be a shear force on the fluid layer. So, we cannot reduce the frictional losses. To be very honest, we need power output from the internal combustion engine, but the friction, which is very important, because a percentage of the power generated within the engine cylinder is lost due to friction. So, we have discussed in the context of torque power generated, there little bit we have discussed about that. We can what is indicated power, what is brake power, and what is the frictional power. So, the power, a significant portion of the power that is being generated, or whatever power we got, we normally obtain from the internal combustion engine is lost, a significant percent is lost to overcome the frictional losses. Therefore, not only engine cylinder, there are parts within the internal combustion engine where friction is also present, like crankshaft, also connecting rod. There we still have frictional effect, frictional forces there. So, we need to supply lubrication only to reduce friction and rather to increase their life. So, this is all about the sources of friction. Now, when we talk about mechanical friction and lubrication, very important. See, as I said you that when two surfaces are in contact, in an engine, they will touch each other at the roughness high spot of the surface. See, it is very difficult to have, or it is very difficult to manufacture a surface which is atomistically smooth. So, we cannot have a surface where we have we should not have, rather we will not have surface roughness. So, that means when two solid surfaces are in contact in an engine, either cylinder piston, connecting rod, crankshaft, there they touch each other at the roughness high spot of the surfaces. So, I mean, if I try to draw a surface, there will be irregularities like this. So, this surface roughness, this is surface roughness. This is very important because we cannot manufacture, we cannot have a surface which is atomistically smooth. So, we should have a surface roughness. So, when two solid surfaces are in contact with each other, in an engine. When two solid surfaces are contact with each other in an engine, definitely they will touch each other at the roughness high spot of the surfaces. So, these are the roughness high spot, So, these are the location of A, B, C, D. These are the location of roughness high spots. So, A, B, C, D you have identified, these are the location of roughness high spots. So, now when this surface are in contact with another surface, they will definitely touch at that roughness high spot of the engine, of the surface in an engine. So, now question is very difficult, as I said, it is very difficult to have a very smooth surface, but what I can do that if we can increase the lower will be the surface so what we can do, so the smoother will be the surface, the smoother rather smooth surface if we have a smooth surface, right, for smooth surface or surfaces, lower will be the surface high spot, lower will be the surface high spots, and not only the So, if we have a smooth surface which is very difficult to have, I mean it is very difficult to have atomistically smooth surface, but what we can do, we can have a, we can reduce the surface roughness, and relatively smooth surface if we have, then we will have that surface high spots will be less. Not only that, the average distance separating them will be less. Not only that, and average distance separating them also will be less. So, smoother the surface, lower will be the high spot. Not only that, the average distance between the high spot also will be reduced. So, now that is the different tissue altogether. If we can if we can prepare a surface of that level of smoothness, then only it is possible. Otherwise, we will have a high spot, and whenever we are having high spot, and particularly I have drawn this, and this surface when is in contact with another surface, they will touch each other, that high spot, not, and if that surface is in motion, question is, whenever say this surface, if I say this surface 1, when this surface 1 is in contact with another surface, let us say 2, then they will touch each other at this roughness high spot. Not only that, now if so what I am writing, that when surface 1 will be in contact with another surface, they will touch at high spots. This is true. So, when surface 1 high spot, that is at A, B, C, D. So, when surface 1 will be in contact with another surface, they will touch each other, at high spots, that is at A, B, C and D. Not only that, if one surface is moved relative to other, now if surface 2, surface 2, if surface 2 moves relative to surface 1, then the high points will then the contacts at high points will resist the movement, which is nothing but the friction, right. So, we have seen that when two surfaces touch each other, definitely they will touch at high spot, and if one surface moves relative to another surface, then of course they will touch at high points, that is true, and that high points will resist the movement, and that is which is known as friction. Sometimes what happens that the points of contacts will become so hot, sometimes they are trying to weld together. Now, because of the friction, we sometimes say, because of the friction the surface temperature will be high, and not only that because of the friction, surface, that is high points, will become hot, will become hot. Sometimes those points trying to weld weld together, right. So, because of the friction, temperature of the mating surface will be high. Sometimes the temperature of that high points will be so high, rather the high points will be so hot that they weld together. So, instead of our entire objective was to have a relative motion between the two mating surfaces. So, instead of having relative motion between two mating surfaces, we can have only the rather we can have these two surfaces will weld together. So, we should not have a motion at all. So, what is friction? We have understood that when we prepare or when we manufacture a surface, it is very difficult to have a atomistically smooth. We always try to have a better smooth surface, rather better to have a better smoothness. So, higher will be the smoothness. If we do not have a smoothness at all, but even though we can have smoothness, we cannot trivially make it 0, that there should not be there should not be high points at all. So, we can reduce that high points. So, if we can reduce the high points by creating a smooth surface, so those high points will be reduced. Not only that, a more smooth surface will have a relatively the average distance separating these two high points will be less for a better smooth surface. Now, question is, when that surface is in contact with another surface, let us say 2, they will touch each other at that high points, and suppose surface 2 is in motion, rather surface 2 moves related to surface 1, then those high points will try to resist the movement, and that is what is known as friction. And because of the friction, temperature of those two mating surfaces will be high. Sometimes it becomes so high that these two surface, instead of having relative motion of surface 2 relative to surface 1, they will weld together. So, this friction is very important, and to overcome that friction, we need a significant portion of the power output is used. Now, so our efficiency drops down. So, now question is, to reduce that friction is very important, that we have understood that source of friction that is there in your internal combustion engine. So, we have identified that when there is a relative motion between two mating surfaces. So, one is of course cylinder and piston and cylinder, because cylinder is in a fixed, but piston is having relative motion related to the cylinder, also connecting rod and the crankshaft. So, these are the places where we should have friction, and to minimize the friction, rather instead of because a significant portion of the power is being used to overcome that frictional losses. So, our target will be to minimize the frictional losses. So, rather how can we minimize the frictional losses? So, as I said you that a significant portion of the power, output or output power is used to overcome the frictional losses by friction, right. To get a relief out of this problem, to minimize this problem, what is done, that lubricating oil is added between the surfaces. So, to reduce in order to reduce the frictional resistance, in order to reduce the frictional resistance, equivalently to maximize the power output, this lubricating oils normally are used, or rather added. Lubricating oils are added to the space between the surface. Between the surfaces. I am telling that lubricating oils are used between the surfaces. It is not so easy. We should have a proper system, and that is what we need to know. What are the lubrication system? Okay, we will discuss. And so before we go to discuss about this, what does a lubricating system do in the context of reducing friction in an internal combustion engine? Rather, if we have a lubricating system in the internal combustion engine, what effect does it have? I mean, by how it reduces the frictional losses. So, when one surface move, so suppose we have a lubricating system. So, we have understood that why we need lubricating system in an internal combustion engine. So, lubricating system is nothing but a system where we can have lubrication oil. Either we can pump the lubricating oil to the desired locations of the internal combustion engine, or sometimes the movement of the crankshaft itself allows the churning action of the lubricating oil, so that it will go to the desired places and it will reduce the frictional, it will minimize the frictional losses. So, it is very important, lubricating oil. So, very important that this lubricating oil adheres to the solid surface and when one surface moves relative to the other, and when one surface moves relative to the other, oil is dragged along with the surface. Oil is dragged along the surface. So, if we have a lubricating oil, so what we can do? So one surface. So, it is not very important that the oil holds on the surface. The oil holds the surface apart from the and one surface hierarchically apart. The oil holds the surface apart from another surface. That is one surface hierarchically hydraulically floats on the other surface, right. So, we have a lubricating oil that will try to separate two surfaces, and not only that, so when one surface is moving related to other, the oil is dragged along the surface, and always the oil will try to hold, this lubricating oil will try to hold the surface, one surface apart from the other surface, and as if one surface hydraulically floats on the other. So, it does not, that lubricating oil does not allow another surface to come into contact with the high spots of the other surface. So, we can reduce the frictional losses. But even though we cannot make the frictional effect will be 0, because although we have a lubricating oil, but still we have a resistance, and that resistance comes from the fact that from the relative motion of the fluid layers. Relative motion of the is the shearing of the fluid layers between the surface. So, whenever, although we have a lubricating oil, we can minimize the friction, we can allow both two mating surface not to come each other, even when they are in relative motion with each respect to one, when we have a relative motion of one surface respect to other. but still we cannot make the frictional effect to be 0, because the frictional effect can be reduced, but it will be still there, because that frictional effect will come from the fact that from the relative motion, that is because of the when we will have a relative motion of one surface related to other, that relative motion will try to shearing the fluid layer between the surface, and but so friction, I am writing friction can be reduced or minimized but still there will be but still friction will be there will be friction loss, frictional loss, and this frictional loss, that is resistance, this is essentially resistance that comes from the fact that the relative motion of one surface comes from the so frictional losses will be there, that is the because of the frictional where that resistance will comes from the fact that the relative motion of one surface will create a shearing of the fluid layer between the surface. So, that means when we have a fluid layer between two mating surfaces, we can reduce the frictional losses because of the two solid surface which is coming from the contact between two solid surface, but we cannot trivially make it 0, because when one surface is moving related to the other between the fluid layer will try to so there will be a shearing action of the between the fluid layer which is there between the surfaces. So, the shearing of the fluid layer between the surface will be there, and that will eventually results in a frictional losses. But this friction, so I can write that this friction because of the fluid layer, but frictional loss due to shearing of fluid layers is orders of magnitude less than that of the dry surface motion. This is very important. So, that means when instead of if we do not provide lubricating oil, there will be a relative motion between two mating surfaces. So, we have friction because of the dry surface motion, but if we provide lubricating oil, and that lubricating oil will try to float one surface from the other one surface on the other, and but we cannot make the frictional losses will be 0. There will be frictional losses because of the shearing of fluid layers, but that losses will be even orders of magnitude less than the frictional losses that is there between the relative motion of the dry surface between two dry surface. So, now very important. So, we have understood why lubrication system is required. So, first we understood from where friction is coming. We have identified the sources where rather identified the locations where friction is there. Of course, piston cylinder between the mating surface of the piston and cylinder, crankshaft and the connecting rod. To reduce the frictional losses, essentially or equivalent to obtain high power output, we should have a lubricating system. That lubricating system, and whenever we are having lubricating system, by how it allows to reduce the frictional losses in a internal combustion engine, and that is what we have discussed, we have identified now. So, whenever we are talking about lubricating system, rather lubricating oils, there are a few important characteristics that those are needed, I mean, for the lubricating oil. So, we cannot use any oil or any fluid or any liquid to be the lubricating oil for the internal combustion, to minimize the friction in the internal combustion engine. So, there are a few important characteristics which are needed for the lubricating oil. So, I am writing the important characteristics characteristics of the lubricating oil is very important. So, number 1, we cannot use any oil will be to be the as a I mean any oil for the lubrication system. Rather, there are a few important characteristics which I mean which are needed in a lubricating fluid. First one is that lubricating oil must adhere to the solid surface, very important. So, lubricating oil must adhere to the solid surface, it has to adhere with the solid surface or to the it has to adhere to the solid surface, otherwise it is very difficult, we should not have we cannot reduce. Number 2 is very important, the this lubricating oils, this lubricating oil must resist being squeezed out from the surface, being squeezed out from the mating surfaces. So, maybe we are using one lubricating oil, first quality is that lubricating oil must adhere to the solid surface. Not only that, the lubricating oil must resist being squeezed out from the mating surfaces even under extreme forces, even under extreme forces experienced by the engine, between some components. So, there are a few components where maybe forces are very high, even that high forcing condition the lubricating oil will be able to resist that squeezing out the tendency of getting squeezing out from the mating surfaces. Number 3 is very important, whenever you are having lubricating oil between two mating surfaces where one surface is in motion related to the other. So, that means whenever, as I said, if I try to go back to my previous slide, that lubricating oil adheres to the solid surface, and when one surface moves relative to the other, oil is dragged along the surface. So, when oil is dragged along the surface, it is very important that lubricating oil should not require excessive force to shear adjacent liquid layers. It is very important that lubricating oil, so when one surface is in motion, oil will be dragged along the surface. So, when oil is dragged along the surface, so maybe the liquid layer which is very close to the moving surface, that will drag along the surface, and by virtue of fluid property, that is viscosity, that information will be provided, will be percolated into the next adjacent layer. So, that next adjacent layer also will be able to drag along the another fluid layer, I mean adjacent fluid layer. So, this is very important that lubricating oil should not require excessive force to shear adjacent liquid layer. It is very important. So, as I said you that the liquid layer which is very close to the surface which is in motion, that will drag along the surface, but the lubricating oil properties will be such that it should not require huge force or excessive force that to drag the adjacent liquid layer. Otherwise we should not have, instead of reducing friction we should have, we require rather frictional effect will be high, resistance will be high. So, as I said you that whenever one surface is in motion, so the liquid layer close to the moving surface will move or will drag. The fluid property by virtue of which that information is percolating to the next fluid layer is viscosity. So, that means while we are telling that this will be an important characteristic, this will be an important quality of the lubricating oil. So, the property that determines this property is viscosity, and it is very important. So, viscosity will be such that we should not require excessive forces to shear the adjacent liquid layer. Okay. So, this is very important that we have discussed about the important characteristic of the lubricating oil. Now, very important that we have identified that what we have discussed about what is friction. We have identified the location where frictional effect is dominant. Rather, we have discussed, we have seen that from where that frictional effect is coming. Also, we have discussed that providing lubrication or lubricating oil into the mating surfaces where we have where one surface is in motion related to the other, we can reduce the friction, but we cannot make it 0. And we have also discussed about the important qualities, rather important characteristics that a lubricating system, lubricating oil will have. So, now if I try to write that so we have discussed about that friction is very important, that friction, we can classify friction as loss in using a power terms, right. So, we have discussed about friction, but as I said that a significant part or a significant portion of the power output power is being used to reduce the friction. So, what we can do that engine friction, very important, that engine friction is very important, that friction can be classified, rather we can classify engine friction, we can classify engine friction as a loss using power terms. So, essentially friction is loss of power, right, because a significant portion of the power is required to overcome the frictional losses. So, of course, we can classify, we can write that engine friction which is nothing but loss of power. So, we can classify that engine friction as a loss during using the power terms. So, what are the power terms? Even if we try to recall that we have discussed that we have net power, whether it is indicated, then brake power, and if I that indicated power, that is power produced on the shaft, power produced on the piston. If I try to recall that we have discussed and we have also quantified in terms of power, that the whenever we had combustion, so the power produced on the piston face is the indicated power, but the power we get at the shaft is always less than that. So, where is the loss, and what is the sources, what are the sources of that loss? I mean, indicated power is not equal to the power available at the shaft. So, of course, there is a loss. So, what are the sources by virtue of which we are not getting that amount of power? So, friction is an important source to reduce that power. So, indicated power is not equal to the brake power. So, the power available at the piston face is indicated power, power available at the shaft is brake power. So, indicated power is not equal to the brake power, rather by an amount indicated power is higher than the brake power. So, the difference between indicated power and brake power is the frictional power. So, if I try to write that, if I wrote that W dot F equal to W dot I, of course this is net, minus W dot brake. So, this is brake power, this is indicated net power, and this is friction power. So, as I said you that the difference between indicated power and the brake power is essentially the frictional power, fine. So, where this W dot I net is essentially W dot I gross minus W dot I pump. So, this is what we have classified power friction as a loss using power terms. So, why the net indicated power is the gross minus pump? Because if I again try to recall, gross power we are getting during the power stroke. So, if I try to recall that indicator diagram, right, that indicated that upper loop, which if I try to recall the indicator diagram is very important, then we are getting between so maybe this is, so the upper loop, so this is the indicated diagram, this is V, this is pressure power. So, this is pressure and this is volume. So, this indicated diagram, this upper loop, this upper loop consists of the compression and power stroke, consists of the compression and power stroke. This lower loop consists of the pump work, intake and exhaust stroke. So, the upper loop which consists of compression power stroke where power is generated, and lower loop that consists of intake and exhaust stroke which absorb power, and this is called pump work, because intake and exhaust which is essentially the absorbed power, because we need to power from flywheel and that is not pump work. So, if I reduce the pump power from the gross power, we obtain the net indicated power. So, this is very important. So, this is the net indicated power which we obtain from the from this expression. So, not only that, so we have that is why I write W indicated net, that is W gross minus W pump, right. So, this is frictional power which is nothing but the indicated net power minus brake power. So, this is what we have classified friction as a loss using the power terms. Similarly, we can classify friction as a loss using in the terms of work. So, what we can do that now we can classify this friction this friction can be classified in terms of work. So, we have classified friction as a loss in terms of the power. Similarly, we can classify friction this is very important, we can classify friction in terms of work, that is what that frictional work is equal to W I indicated net work minus W brake. So, brake work. So, this is frictional this is net, this is brake, right. And since the brake power is not equal to the indicated power, we had to define one efficiency which is known as mechanical efficiency, eta mechanical, that is WB by WI net, right. So, that is what this mechanical efficiency came into the picture. So, what we understood from this discussion is that the power or work available on the piston face is not equal to the brake power or brake work because of the frictional losses. So, some portion of the work output or power is used to overcome the frictional losses in an internal combustion engine. So, that is what is very important. So, and also we discussed that that engine size differ, right, and also they are also operating at different speed. Engine sizes are not same, and also they are operating at different speed. So, instead of most meaningful since as I said you, since engine size and speed, since engine size and speed engine size and speed are not same, is very important, are not same, it is convenient, it is meaningful, it is more meaningful, it is meaningful to classify the friction, it is meaningful to classify friction and also comparing frictional losses in terms of mean effective pressure. That is what we have discussed in terms of mean effective pressure, which is MEP, which is known as MEP. So, since engine sizes, different engines are having different sizes and also their speed are not equal. So, it is meaningful that we should classify friction and also compare the frictional losses using the mean effective pressure MEP, and this mean effective pressure MEP can be related to any work or power term, right. So, that is why I can write that frictional mean effective pressure is equal to indicated mean effective pressure minus brake mean effective pressure. So, that is what I can write, that is very important, that frictional mean effective pressure is equal to indicated mean effective pressure minus brake mean effective pressure, because engine sizes may differ, their speed may differ. So, definitely that power and work output will change. So, it is very meaningful, rather it is very convenient, and it will be insightful to classify friction, also to classify, rather to compare the frictional losses using the mean effective pressure. So, I can write that the frictional mean effective pressure is essentially indicated mean effective pressure minus brake mean effective pressure. Now, to obtain the frictional mean effective pressure, we need to carry out test in an internal combustion engine, otherwise we cannot obtain it. Now, but sometimes this frictional mean effective pressure can be or rather quite accurately related to the engine speed by empirical relations, that equal to A plus Bn plus Cn square. That is, this frictional mean effective pressure can be rather quite accurately related to engine speed by this empirical equation. So, this frictional mean effective pressure can be written quite accurately through this empirical relationship A plus Bn plus Cn square, where A, B, C are constant, A comma B comma C are the empirical constant related to specific engine and N is equal to engine speed. So, this is very important that we can write that frictional mean effective pressure. We have to carry on test on an internal combustion engine to obtain the frictional mean effective pressure. Sometimes we can write the frictional mean effective pressure using this empirical equation, which is not bad, rather quite accurately you can represent, where A, B, C are constant that related to specific engine and to a specific engine, and N is equal to engine speed. So, very important. Now, this is very important that the first term, so this is first term 1, this is second term 2, and this is third term 3. So, this first term A, that is A is very important, is known as boundary friction. This is known as boundary friction, very important. So, it occurs between components. So, boundary friction, and it occurs between components when there is not enough lubrication to hydraulically separate. So, there is not enough lubrication to hydraulically separate the motion of one surface from another. So, the first term A, which is the first term on the right hand side of equation, that A, which is known as boundary friction, and it occurs when between components when there is not enough lubrication to hydraulically separate the motion of one surface from the other. This is very important. That means it's very important. So, this is known as boundary friction. This indicates that we are having lack of hydraulic floating. So, this indicates lack of hydraulic floating. So, when we have lack of hydraulic floating, and this is known as boundary friction, and that occurs piston ring cylinder wall interface at TDC or BDC. This is normally occurs piston ring and wall interface at TDC and BDC when there is no enough lubrication to separate the motion, rather lack of motion of one surface from another, that is lack of hydraulic floating. And 2 is very important, second term, that is B into N, that we have written, is proportional to the engine speed. So, the second term, which is proportional to the engine speed, we have identified, and relates the hydraulic shear that occurs between lubricated engine components, and this relates second terms, which is proportional to the engine speed. So, second term is proportional to the engine speed, that relates proportional engine speed and relates to the hydraulic shear, that occurs between many lubrication engine components. Many lubricated engine components. So, this is basically, so because we know that tau is equal to mu du doi, therefore equal to mu into delta u by delta y. So, this is the velocity gradient between the surface and rather velocity difference between the adjacent surface, delta u velocity difference between adjacent surface and delta y distance separating adjacent surface. So, this is very important. And third term which is very important, that third term which is third term is related to engine speed. So, it is related to the square of the engine speed. Right, and this term accounts for the losses from turbulent dissipation in the intake and exhaust flows. So, this term accounts for the losses from turbulent dissipation in the intake and exhaust flows. In the intake exhaust flows, right. So, we have identified three different terms. Third term is related to square root of the engine speed, which accounts the losses because of the turbulent dissipation in the intake and exhaust flows. Second term relates the hydraulic shear between the that occurs between the many lubricated engine components, and first part which is only because of lack of hydraulic floating. So, today we have discussed about the friction, what is the definition of friction, from where it comes in the context of engine operation, and we have identified by how we can reduce the friction, but we cannot make it 0. Then we need to have lubricating system. If we have a lubricating system, by how it can reduce the frictional effect, and what should be the important characteristics of the lubricating system that we have discussed. And finally, we have discussed that friction can be classified in terms of work and also in terms of power, and we have expressed friction through an empirical relationship which essentially depends upon the three important constant and the engine speed. So, with this I stop here today, and I will continue our discussion in the next class. Thank you.